Howdy, everybody, and welcome to the TexAgs High School Football Show, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Academy has all your high school football road trip needs this season. Get the right gear for the long season with free curbside pickup today at Academy Sports and Outdoors. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the final week of the regular season on the TexAgs High School Football Show. I'm Ryan Brauninger, joined with me, my colleague and coworker Jason Howell up there in DFW. And Jason, it's kind of crazy, man. It feels like just yesterday we were sitting down to record our first one of these, and now, and even some of the teams across the state, their regular season is done, and they're airing up basketballs already because it's kind of weird. There's some bye weeks in the final week of the season, so even some teams across the state are already done with football season. That's crazy to think this is the first week of November, but regular season coming to a close. We'll always start with you in Dallas and kind of check in on where you went and what you saw.
Well, the weather kept me at home on Friday, but Thursday night I got out to McKinney, checked out Denton Geyer and McKinney in a big district matchup there. Geyer pulls it out 42-21. They jumped out early. I mean, before I even had a chance to get my phone ready, Peyton Bowens returning an 84-yard kickoff for a touchdown. So he started things off. I got it on the camcorder, but I couldn't put it out there on the Twitter for everybody, but he had that. He had 9 tackles, an interception, blocked a field goal. I mean, he got it done every facet of the game. Continues to just look like $1 million out there, showing everybody why he's regarded as a 5-star and why A&M is going, all in on him, so made him a high priority target. Eli Bowen, again, another big time showcase for him. Just continues to show his playmaking ability. Very much an instinctual player. He's always in position. And he's not the biggest guy, but he's real physical. And had a big game. Jackson Arnold looks like he's up there with any quarterback in the country. One guy that I've grown to really, really like is Landon Sides, receiver, who's got that speed. He had 5 receptions for 183 yards and 2 touchdowns. The guy is he's headed to Incarnate Word, and they got themselves a speedster, man. He's going to be fun to watch out there in that offense. And
dude, they're putting up points at Incarnate Word like crazy. That's your boy GJ Kenny.
Yeah, man, he is. He's got it rolling out there. No doubt about. I bet we're hearing GJ's name for a number of jobs in the very near future. But they've kept that ball rolling and really got things going downhill there. But Landon Sides is going to be a fun one to watch, especially in that offense. Big Texas A&M target Brian Jackson, 18 carries for 62 yards. It was tough sledding for him. Geyer really did a good job of getting penetration and keeping him contained for much of the night, but a big physical runner. You could see in, pregame and throughout, even though he wasn't able to break a whole lot of runs, that he brings a lot to the table as far as size and versatility and just very, very agile for as big as he is.
Well, yeah, and I knew the weather was going to be a problem. I thought it may alter my schedule last week, but it didn't. It swept through kind of late Thursday night, early Friday morning, and then was out of my game area before the kickoff started. So I was appreciative of that. But Thursday night, I saw probably the best game in the state, and it lived up to the billing. We said on the show last week, and I said, if there's a year where Atascocita would get North Shore, it'd be this year. And they nearly pulled it off, a 13-3 lead going into the fourth quarter. And it turned into the David Amador show once again for North Shore, as it often does. In the biggest games, in the biggest moments over the last 3 years of the best program in the state of Texas, you can talk about all the 5-star recruits and all the highly offered kids that North Shore's had, but it seems like every time they need a play, it's David Amador that made it. And by the time people are watching this, I put out a kind of an A&M recruiting temperature take on the boards, and a guy that I mentioned is like, I wouldn't hate to see A&M go after was David Amador. I know you have to have elite prospects to win in the SEC, but at some point you go, okay, that dude is a football player
Uh-huh.
and he wins you football games. And I just think, if A&M was ever to get to that point at receiver, I'd love to see them go. As it is now, he's going to be probably one of the better players that UTSA has ever signed in their short existence of a football program. And the Coach Traylor is getting an enormous steal, but he rallies late, or helps North Shore rally late, and had a huge touchdown run on a fourth down to close the gap to 13-9. And then he had the play over the top from the quarterback position, a huge throw, I think 63 yarder to Terrence Guillory, to give North Shore their first lead of the night, which they ultimately held. I thought A&M defensive tackle commit Samu Tamanu Pepe was the best I've ever seen him. 6 tackles, 3 tackles for loss. When you kind of consider what he does and how he plays, that's a huge stat line against a really good opponent. His short area quickness for being a 380-pounder is pretty rare. You just don't see guys that big move like that, and certainly is a different piece. And for the A&M defensive line going forward, they've got a lot of talented kids, but they don't have that kind of body style to play in the middle. So really good night there at Turner Stadium in Humboldt. And even though I couldn't get any video out, the internet, the connection there was super slow, but was able to get some stuff out in the post game. Then on Friday night, stayed here in College Station to see the A&M Consolidated Tigers and the College Station Cougars. What a wild game that was. 21-0 A&M Consolidated within the first 4 or 5 minutes of the game. From that moment forward, College Station outscores A&M Consolidated 38-7. They win the game 38-28 behind a big, big night from sophomore running back Aiden Martinez-Brown. I thought he was the best player on the field, especially in the second half. A&M Consolidated got big performances from running back Trey Taylor. Will Hargett was okay at times. He was kind of streaky. And it was a huge blow for A&M Consolidated. They lost, at the time he was a Colorado commit, now a Kansas State commit.
Yeah.
Wide receiver Wesley Watson, I believe, broke a bone in his foot in the first quarter. And then their second best receiver went out for a long time in the game with a hamstring problem. So they were really struggling offensively to get anything going. And it was a credit to the College Station defense, who completely shut down the running game. And man, I've not covered a game where I saw it flip that wildly in one direction so fast. And like, you looked at the first quarter, and I'm going, this is going to be a blowout for A&M Consolidated. And College Station ends up winning by 2 touchdowns. The game sealing touchdown grab by 2025 tight end Jackson Verdugo. And I don't know if you saw it, Jason.
Had lots of people asking for highlights, and they were easy to find on Twitter. Oh my goodness.
Sports Center top 10 nominee, defensive back all over him. He goes and plucks it out of the air one-handed with his left hand. 6'4", 215-pound kid that you have a performance like that, it's going to catch the attention of a lot of college coaches in the area. And I know that he's already the recruiting ball is starting to roll there for Jackson Verdugo at College Station High. But a really entertaining game, and was glad I got to cover these local teams and see the first time that they've played in since 2017. So good night there at Cougar Stadium on Friday night. Any other things stand out to you this weekend, Jason?
Well, South Lake Carroll, man, I got to give them credit. I picked against them with Byron Nelson coming to town, and they handled that defense. First of all, did a good job of bottling up that potent Byron Nelson offense, and when Nelson got out to a 13-0 lead, and South Lake came storming back. Owen Allen with a huge effort on the ground. Great job there by the Dragons to stay undefeated. Duncanville, my goodness, I watched that game instead of going out on Friday night. I watched that on TV, and my gosh, 41-17. Colin Simmons was a constant in the backfield for Duncanville. Just ridiculous off the edge. Tenacious, violent, throw the adjectives out there. He is he's showing why he's one of the top recruits. And Caden Durham, I don't know if you saw this one, Bronny.
Yeah, his stat line was crazy.
At halftime, he was averaging, he was over 200 yards a carry and was averaging just shy of 25 yards a carry. Wow. So he had almost 250 yards and was averaging 25 yards a carry. Finished the night over 300 yards, 5 touchdowns, and he was just breaking free over and over again. Great job by Duncanville. Allen and Prosper went down to the wire. Prosper pulls out the win, 29-24. And those were the three that really caught my attention there.
Well, I got to stay local, and if I'm going to give some props to another local team, the Franklin Lions had a top 10 matchup with number 6 Cameron Yo there in 3A Division One, and Franklin looks like they're primed to make another trip to AT&T Stadium. They win 63-7 over the number 6 team in the state. Sophomore running back, linebacker, athlete Jaden Jackson's line, 17 carries, 325 yards, and 5 touchdowns, and he is built like a grown man at 15, 16 years old. I went back and watched that tape, some of the highlights from that game. I would imagine he gets offers based off his size, and then when you watch the breakaway speed coupled with that, pretty impressive skill set for a sophomore. Probably going to be a linebacking prospect, but at Franklin, you got to do it all. But did want to give a shout out there to Coach Fannin and the Lions. Hopefully, I can get out and see them on their playoff run.
Absolutely. Well, you got
Go
some
ahead.
places you're going to be this week. We're going to
Well,
jump
yeah,
in.
the plan is weather pending, because it looks like Mother Nature is going to play a part in my game schedule this week, probably on Friday. But right now, I'm scheduled for Thursday to go see a battle for a district championship in 5A Division One. Kingwood Park, surprising Kingwood Park at 7-2. They're going to host Port Arthur Memorial on Thursday night in Humble. Get to see one of my Southeast Texas 409 teams come to the greater Houston area. So did want to make sure I got the chance to go out and see Coach Morgan and all that super talented sophomore and freshman class he's got there at Port Arthur Memorial. Then on Friday night, again, weather pending, I will be at Katy Pato against Katy Tompkins. If Katy Pato wins, they will secure a spot in the playoffs. Katy Tompkins, obviously led by outstanding junior offensive lineman Ashton Funk and their junior all-around athlete Wyatt Young. Caleb Komalafe, he's a kind of a running back DB hybrid. He just decommitted from Memphis. Has seen some more recruiting attention come his way. So Coach McVay's always got a really potent program, really potent offense, and I'm looking forward to seeing maybe potentially Ashton Funk lined up across from DJ Hicks. What a fun matchup that would be.
No doubt. And I'll be at Lucas Lovejoy for their matchup against Melissa. Like, this is going to be a battle for a district title, both 7-2, 6-0 in district, and featuring a lot of top-notch prospects. Lovejoy, you got Peyton Pierce, who just returned from a visit to A&M. Dalen McCutcheon, 2025 receiver with an A&M offer. And they may have the best receiving core in the state when you throw in Jackson Lavender and LSU commit. I can't believe I'm blanking on his name.
Livingston?
Kyle Porter.
Kyle Porter.
And then Porter Livingston. That's why I get them all confused, because of the Porters and Livingston and all that. But anyways, that group is
Parker Livingston. I don't want to mess that up.
Parker Kyle Livingston. Parker. See,
Kyle Parker.
Yeah. So apologies to both of those guys.
Man, you got something wrong in Dallas that I got right. I feel this is a good day.
You did. You Google that?
I didn't, unfortunately.
And then Melissa, you got Nigel Smith, big time D lineman, and key A&M target in 24, and Texas commit Trevor Gooseby on the offensive front. She'll be a lot of fun. That has moved from Thursday to Friday, and now back to Thursday. So we'll see. It may be on Friday by the time this actually airs, so who knows? But I will be at that game regardless. I've committed to that game, and I am looking at Louisville on Friday night. They claim district, and they face Hebron on Friday, and that is always just a real tough game. And Jaden Hardy is a playmaker, and that 24 class for Louisville is playing on both sides of the ball, and just a lot of talent both ways there that we'll be watching for out there. And somehow things get switched. I may end up at Arlington Martin, Arlington Bowie. So we'll see. We'll see what
Yeah,
happens.
weather's going to make an impact on both of
Yeah.
our schedules this weekend, it looks like. But when we sit down here next week, Jason, better have your state champions picked in
Okay.
every classification. We won't do 6-man, so we'll go from 2A to 6A. We're going to pick state champions. We're going to make playoff predictions.
Sounds
And
good.
also, if you're a subscriber to TexAgs, Jason and I, once we quit this recording, we're going to go in and do our rankings update for our classes of 23, 24, and potentially even some 25 stuff. So a lot for you to look forward to on TexAgs. There's a lot for you to look forward to on the Texas high school football scene. Playoff time, as much as we love the regular season and as many options as you have, there's nothing like playoff time in Texas. Everybody's chasing a state championship trophy and that trip to AT&T Stadium.
Yes, sir. Can't wait.
All right,
Whew.
for Jason Howell, I'm Ryan Brauninger. Next week, the playoff version of the Texas High School Football Show returns. But for now, safe travels on the road, and we will see you next week.